Hello! So as you can tell, it is currently nighttime here in Lisbon. I completely forgot to start the vlog, so let's rewind a little bit and start from the beginning. Cue the voiceovers. We said goodbye to Porto and headed to Lisbon first thing in the morning. This was our first time taking Flexbus, and I have to say this was such a nice ride. The bus was clean and the 3-hour journey was so smooth. We even got to check out a rest stop along the way, which is way nicer than the ones we have back home. Before we knew it, we arrived in Lisbon, where we bolted straight to our hotel. We decided to treat ourselves to a nicer stay for my birthday at Dual Hotel. This was such a nice day, and I love how central the location was, and the room had everything we ever need. I definitely recommend staying here if you also have an Amex Plat, because this was such a great use of our hotel credit. We dropped off our luggages and headed right out to explore the city. Our mission today was to check out a few shops that we've been wanting to visit because the shopping scene here in Lisbon is so good. Our first stop was Lusa, which has a huge selection of ceramics and glassware. They also offer shipping services for the pieces you purchase, so it makes it pretty convenient if you're in the market for some new ceramic homeware. I unfortunately didn't buy anything, but it was great window shopping here. We then pivoted to more souvenir and gift shopping at Avida Portuguesa. They have pretty much all of Portugal's highlights, from fragrances to pantry staples. It's definitely worth visiting for any gifts or souvenir needs. We made sure to stop at Castro for some pastel de nata, and even though this wasn't my favorite, I think I like this much better than the ones I have from Fabrica de Nata, so if you're in the area, it's not a bad spot to take a break. On a more fashionable note, we eventually made our way to Zapateria del Carmo to check out some of their handmade leather shoes. They're known for their leather slippers that comes with a zipper pouch, but they also have some pretty solid leather shoes as well. My partner ended up getting a pair of boots, which of course was only in stock at their other location, so we walked over to the newer location where I also ended up getting a pair of flats myself. This newer location is actually located right on the main shopping street, so we also stopped by this leather glove specialty store, which has been around for generations, before making our way to the infamous elevator in Rocio Square, where I absolutely lost my mind at this massive Zara. It's been a while since I shopped at Zara, but can someone tell me, has Zara always been this chic, or is it just Europe? Anyways, if you haven't noticed, we really haven't eaten much all day, so we made a quick stop for some bifana, and I have to say, if you come, make sure to bring cash and make sure to add in some of this chili oil. It makes all the difference. By this time, the sun was setting, so we headed over to the infamous Jardim Julio de Castillo. This is supposedly the best viewpoint for sunset, and even though there were a lot of people, the vibes were immaculate. It would be 100 times more magical if everything was in full bloom. We continued to do a little bit more shopping at Ben Amor, which is a popular local beauty and wellness brand that also has a pastel de nata line, including hand creams and essential oils, and have been pretty popular amongst tourists as well. I personally did not like the fragrance of the pastel de nata line, but I did end up bringing home some of their other scents, and their customer service is beyond amazing. We stopped by a nearby Garrafera Nacional location afterwards for some wine and olive oil before heading to dinner at Baía de Pesi. This was recommended to us by a friend, and wow, this was such a good rec because look at this platter of seafood. I cannot believe this was 37.50 euros per person. My cholesterol levels definitely shot to an all-time high during this meal. But thankfully, I decided to order us a tropical salad to make this meal feel a little less guilty, and if you're looking for a spot to try some Portuguese seafood, this is definitely the place to go. Okay, so we finally made it back to our hotel room. We took a stroll through Time Out Market because it's really close to our hotel, and ended up grabbing a couple of desserts. The first one is the Albuquerque Pastel de Nata from Mantegaria. And this was before we saw the donut spot that we ended up getting. It's called Crushed Donut, and they have these massive donuts. And one of them is this creme brulee, which they freshly torch right in front of you. So it is as fresh as it gets, and it looks scrumptious. So we had to get it. But yeah, it's been a really long day, and we're both tired. So we are probably going to eat some sweet treats and call it a night, because tomorrow is my birthday and we have a whole day planned for Sintra, which I'm really excited about. So good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning! It's my birthday, and we're currently waiting for our Bolt to come pick us up. We're going to be heading out on a little day trip to Sintra. I've heard really great things about Sintra, so I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the castles and the initiation well, which is supposedly super pretty in real life. And yeah, I think afterwards we're gonna come back and get some Japanese Portuguese fusion food. So really excited for what's to go today. So let's get going. This was about a 40-minute ride, and our first stop today was the National Palace of Peña. We got here around 9:30 and there were already a bunch of people. I highly recommend booking tickets in advance online so that you don't have to wait as long. There are multiple routes you can take to get to the palace itself, but since I'm impatient, we took the shortest one, and this castle is straight out of a storybook. I don't know if I'm just hungry, but the yellow and red really reminded me of a gourmet plate of tomato and egg stir fry. Anyways, we took our time walking around the palace and snapped some pics to kill some time before our allotted time to enter the palace. And to be honest, unless you're really into antiques and history, you can probably skip the inside of the palace. But I will say the craftsmanship put into each room was magnificent, and it was really nice to get a glimpse of how royalty lived back in the day. Alright, so we just spent the morning at the National Palace of Peña, and now we are at the Quinta. I forgot the name of this castle, but this is where the initiation well is. This castle actually looks better than the National Palace of Peña, in my opinion, just because of how intricate the designs are. So I'm really excited to be seeing it up close and personal. Okay, I'll be honest, the well itself was a bit underwhelming, but the rest of the palace grounds really surprised me. There are multiple spots to explore, including a nice little waterfall and some caves. I'm not going to spoil it too much for you guys, but it was really nice to take a little afternoon stroll here. By the time we were done, we were famished, and luckily we were just a short walk away from town, so we headed over to the popular Casa Piriquita for their famous traveseros. We tried the original and Nutella one, and personally, I really liked the original one. It was on the sweeter side, but it paired really well with a cup of cappuccino. So after devouring these, we walked around town for a little bit and decided to head back to Lisbon early to try to make it to the cloisters of Mosteros dos Jerónimos, and I'm so glad we did because this place was marvelous. Look at the details. You must visit if you come to Lisbon, and maybe because we came closer to the end of the day, there weren't too many crowds, so you can really take time to enjoy the grounds. Now since we're in Belém, you already know we had to pay the originators of Pastel de Nata a visit, so we walked over to Pastis de Belém, and I can confirm this is the best Pastel de Nata I've had this whole trip. If there's only one place you need to get Pastel de Nata from, it's this one. Fortunately, it started to rain, so we headed back to the hotel where they surprised this birthday girl with some champagne. So naturally, we ordered some food to go along with it because why not? The rain didn't ease up until later in the night, but that didn't stop us from going out one last time for some seafood. I finally got to try simi, which was highly recommended to us. They specialize in Portuguese and Japanese fusion dishes, and let me just say their ceviche and sardine nigiri is one of their best sellers for good reason. This was so good. We also ended the night with some tiramisu, and this was the humble little cake that I used to bring in another year around the sun. Alright, if there's anything I've come back multiple times for, it's definitely the cinnamon buns from Quest. I'm so sad we tried this on our last morning here because these cinnamon buns were divine. If you're ever in Lisbon, make sure to stop by Quest for breakfast because these cinnamon buns will change your life. Anyways, since we had a couple of hours before our flight, we decided to walk around one last time to see a few places and shops we missed the first day, including the iconic yellow tram and a few ceramic shops like Curipol, which also have beautiful silverware, and Deposito, which is more of a lifestyle store. In fact, they are a sister store to Avida Portuguesa, but carries more homeware and ceramic pieces. Just nearby is also another Avida Portuguesa location, so we paid a visit for some last minute souvenirs, and I must reiterate this is my favorite shop to browse around in because they carry a really good mix of local and larger Portuguese brands and products. If you're short on time and need to grab some last minute souvenirs, I highly recommend checking this place out. And that's it for our Portugal trip. This was such a short but fulfilling trip. And yeah, I think I definitely want to come back to Lisbon. There's still so much cafes and other landmarks that we didn't get to go to, unfortunately. So I definitely want to come back. Next time I do come back, I do want to also tack on Lagos. I heard it's really beautiful down there. So hopefully I'll be back soon. But that is it for our little Portugal vlog. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you guys like this video, make sure to thumbs it up and comment below if there's any specific cafes or anywhere else I should be checking out, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.